Do you agree that people's parenting styles are influenced by the way their parents brought them up?
I think it's an interesting question, and it's a complicated one. I think to an extent you are always going to be influenced by the way you were brought up yourself. You might even react against the way that you were brought up. I had a father who was a little bit distant, and so I think I've consciously tried to be closer and more physical with my own children. But I think the environment has a huge part to play as well. And I've had 4 children sort of across a 20-year period. So 2 younger ones of 8 and 10 and 2 older ones of 27 and 29. And I think I've brought them up in different ways according to sort of the times that we've lived in. For example, my younger children are part of the digital age. And so it's always a little bit of a tussle, a fight with them to get them off screens. With my 27-year-old and my 29-year-old, there were screens, but they weren't that interesting. And they didn't want to be on them the whole time. So it's a different sort of culture and a different environment.
Well, what you said about trying to be different to your parents, well, in areas that you didn't really like, I think that at the end of the day, we still replicate our parents exactly. Well, so for example, my mother, when we were growing up, she always tried to make me see us as equals in the relationship. And so I definitely plan on doing that with my children as well, even if that is more of a positive thing.
Okay, that's quite a different attitude.
A very different attitude, yeah. I've seen a lot of my sort of people of my generation, so cousins, for example, who've had kids, and seeing them bring them up has been quite interesting. So myself and people of my generation were brought up in quite strict households. And it's been interesting actually to see, for example, one of my cousins is bringing up their children in a very different way. It's very liberal, not really good or bad thing, it's just very different.
Different priorities.
Different priorities, but it is interesting to see that the core values in their parenting haven't really changed.
Right, okay. And is that partly sort of, do you think they've chosen a different way of bringing them up as a reaction to?
I don't know. I think it's actually an interesting combination of things, including the environment, as you mentioned before.
Okay.